Hi there and welcome to Harrogate. If you're visiting the area for the Grand Départ, for, well, the Tour de France, welcome to our lovely little town. I thought you might like a few hints and tips and a little guided tour of some of what Harrogate has to offer and a little bit of our history as well. So let's get started. Harrogate really started in the 1330s and we were originally known as Harrogate, which kind of was a bit of Old Norse really. But over the times, it's kind of evolved into Harrogate as we know it now. Now, Harrogate itself is popular, not really because of its location, but because of its spa water. A long time ago, a guy found that we had waters comparable to the Belgian town of Spa, which gives all spas their names across the world. Now, what he discovered there meant that people would start to come to the area to sample the waters, believing it had major health benefits. This obviously created an explosion of wealth across the Harrogate area and led to the modern Victorianised town you see today. Now, there's been a number of notable firsts for Harrogate. For instance, we were one of the first towns to have gas lighting. On Parliament Street, which is one of our main town centre areas, where Betty's is, and the Turkish baths, that was one of the first areas to ever have water-powered gas lighting systems. In 1982, the Eurovision Song Contest was held here. Hurrah! And this is also the location where Crimpoline was invented by ICI, named after Crimple Valley, which is where we used to have a golf course. George Oliver was the very first person to observe the effects of adrenaline on the circulatory system right here in Harrogate in 1893. In 2007, the Harrogate hoard was discovered, which was a 10th century Viking treasure hoard. It's only about 700 coins, described by the British Museum as one of the most important finds in Britain for the last 150 years. And something that will have resonance around the world, the 2012 London Olympic Cauldron was actually created right here in Harrogate at the Bond Gadget Workshop. Now, if you're visiting the town for the next couple of days or even for the next week, there's a few things you should take a look at. For the starters, our shopping areas are absolutely fantastic, offering a really nice mix of big high street brands as well as smaller boutiques. Heading down into Montpellier, you'll find smaller boutiques, gold shops, jewellery stores and so on, all selling some of the finest Yorkshire crafted materials. Also, no trip to Harrogate would be complete without a visit to our world famous Betty's. We actually have two of them in Harrogate, one in the town centre, just round by the cenotaph. That's pretty much where the sprint finish line is going to be for the Tour de France. And the other one up at RHS Harlow Car, it's the Royal Horticultural Society, and that's one of our privately run gardens that we have in the town. If you're looking for a free, nice walk around some of the most beautiful areas of Harrogate, you really do need to call in at Valley Gardens, which is a public space that has been well looked after by Harrogate Borough Council and is available to everybody free of charge, and it really is a beautiful couple of hours walk around the gardens. The Stray is an area of 200 acres of protected land that rings the town centre. Now, this was actually created by an Act of Parliament that states it must always be 200 acres. So for instance, when we built a new roundabout, any of the land that was removed from the Stray has to be replaced at an adjacent area. It must always stay 200 acres. We'll be using the Stray quite extensively during the Grand Départ for various different stalls, events and obviously the finish line as well. It'll be a perfect place for you to congregate with large groups of other people to watch the race unfold and cheer on the eventual winners. In Harrogate we speak English obviously and we accept pounds sterling, but you may find that some smaller shops will not accept euros, so just do bear that in mind. But generally speaking, you shouldn't have a problem spending euros in our town. We're more than happy to welcome those in, obviously. In Harrogate, you shouldn't hear too many really broad Yorkshire accents. We're a little bit more of a melting pot here from the north and the south of the UK. A lot of people come here to retire, and so as such, you won't generally hear lots of really broad Yorkshire phrases and sayings. People generally speak a lot closer to how I'm speaking now. Hotels and restaurants are something Harrogate does very, very well for. We have around about 30 to 40 different hotels, although at this time, I'm afraid all those hotels do appear now to be booked for the Tour de France. Restaurants wise, you've got probably over 70 different restaurants scattered around the town area, including 2 that are very, very good for French cuisine. If you're looking for something that is the flavour of the Tour de France, you could look at Le D2 and also Mirabelle, both excellent restaurants offering a wide range of different types of foods. You might also want to check out a new bar-restaurant combination that has opened in Harrogate called The Pit, which is under Jamie Oliver's new restaurant, which we're kind of crossing our fingers will actually be open for the Tour de France because Jamie Oliver's is lagging behind a little bit this last couple of weeks. No trip to Harrogate could possibly be complete without stopping it at the world-famous Betty's Tea Rooms, and they really are world-famous. You also should check out Farah's Toffee shop as well, which is Harrogate-made local toffee and sweets, and is some of the nicest, butteriest toffee you will ever taste. A real treat to take home with you in a tin. Do bear in mind that transport links around the Tour de France Grand Départ are going to be very patchy. For the vast majority of the time there are no buses, there are no trains, and cars will be severely restricted in the area. So bear in mind everything is going to be on foot for the next few days. But luckily Harrogate is a very small town, geographically speaking. Everything you need to get to, you're going to be able to get to on foot. Harrogate has a wealth of things to offer you this weekend. Just remember to have an amazing time, and welcome to Harrogate, and welcome to Yorkshire.